So my name is Alfredo Roa. I manage and handle Garage 2233. It's a service center specializing in Porsche and BMW. Yeah, we started 2233 about 6 years ago. At the start, it was just an enthusiast shop. I would build my own cars, build cars for my friends, and then eventually we started servicing cars as well as supplying the parts. And then later on, we got a little bit more specific to Porsche and BMW. And then at that time, we also started creating some special builds for Porsche. And then at the moment, we're specializing in all these different kind of builds. I call it special wishes. So anything you want, if you have the budget, we can build it. Well, this is a client's 964, so not necessarily it's my favorite car, but it's very familiar, the car. In and out, the 993, the 964, pretty much the same. We started specializing in the 964 and the 993 because we started doing upgrades on them. Similar to other builders outside, we started doing the 4-liter builds, the 3.8-liter builds. We were trying things that some people thought only possible by big companies outside, and then we did it pretty well. So from then on, we started to, cater to people's special wishes. The M3 is actually, that's more close to me. That was one of my first cars long ago. I helped track it down. That time I was still in college. So the funny story, I was in my friend's house in a village, and then his neighbor had a white M3. And I just went to the house, rang the doorbell, and then looked for that neighbor, the owner, and then I asked him, he came out, it's my friend, John. And then I asked him, do you know where I can find another E30 M3? It's my dream car. And then he pointed me to the person who bought his, because he had a white and a red. So he pointed me to the direction where the red one was sold to. And then I had to track that guy down. Eventually, I found my red M3 in Cebu with the current owner during that time. And then haggled with him for a while. And then at that time, the price was pretty high. It took some time, but eventually I remember writing him a letter that I will take care of the car. It's my dream car, and I guess that helped. Yeah, and eventually that's how it came about. Actually, the M3 was a hunt to get that M3 also. Well, there's a time where I actually got into an accident with that M3. I hit the curb, and then it wasn't a big accident, but at that time I decided, okay, I'll have to replace the suspension part. From that point, suddenly things got deeper and deeper, and then I had the car as a stock car for 10 years or more already. So after that, I felt that I could do a little bit more. And it was always a dream of mine to have a DTM car, like the version of the racing M3, but for the road. So slowly, I gathered and saved up for each DTM specific part. The further I got to the build, the more expensive it got, the more extensive it got also. So there were points where there was no return actually. To do this, you would have to do that, and that costs this much. And you can only find that with this specialist in Europe. So through that journey, I also met a lot of DTM specific shops in Europe, and then I saw some of their builds, I visited some of their shops. And then actually what took so long for that build was time, because since I had the shop, I had to start focusing on the client's cars. So that project was always in the back. Only actually during the first few months of COVID, I had the team with me here, and I said, okay, there's no customers, nothing's happening, let's finally finish my car. Within a few months, we just put everything together, and then I started realizing the last few parts that I needed to fix, to purchase, and eventually we were able to complete the car during the COVID time. So good thing for the break from the clients. So I was able to focus on my car and then build it. But now, back to clients. I didn't have car toys actually. No Tamiya, no auto art, no. I had micro machines. That was about it. But It came out of, there was actually a big part of it was I ran into the necessity to do it. Again, like maintaining my own car, sourcing my own parts, just making sure I wouldn't bother my dad for maintaining or repairing any damages I'd caused to the car. That was one of the factors talaga that drove me to make sure I can fix all of this myself without bothering anyone. So from that point, created a business for bringing in spare parts. After my master's, we started doing the service, and then eventually it grew to specialization and then customization. And it all starts with an imagination. You know, if you can dream it, then it's just a short way na lang until you can achieve it. You're only limited by your imagination. Yeah, motto in life that I would always follow. Yeah, very experimental imagination. I'd always try to be different. I'd always see that everything else could improve on. Not saying that we're the best, but everything has to improve, everything has to evolve. So you have to also go with the times. So for example, during the pandemic, you have to move. It's how good you can evolve and how resourceful, but there's also a lot of luck involved. There are a lot of things that happen where it wouldn't have been possible if one or the thing prior to it did not happen. So I feel that I am driven in life to be different, to just try to achieve the best you can achieve, not only locally, but if you can shoot for an international stage, why not? I mean, what's gonna happen? What's the worst to happen? You'd maybe fail and then you just try again. I mean, there's a lot of things that failing actually teaches you a lot. It's about getting back and then still believing in that same goal that you had and then continuing it. I mean, you can be rejected many times. You can fail many times. It's absolutely normal to fail, but it's how you make up for it, how you adapt to it, how you improve yourself so that the failures happen less and less until you achieve your goals. Yeah, being on an international stage is something I'd like. I mean, why not try it? So here at Garage 2233, we're starting to do a little bit more specialized work besides your preventive maintenance and services that we can do and repairs. That's absolutely capable. But we'd like to start focusing more on these special builds. Helping out with the builds, since special builds take a long time, actually, the best way to get them done, and even the services, we ship our own parts. I have my own logistics company for air freight. It's called partscart.ph. So we have door-to-door air freight for spare parts, especially Germany, the US, Asia as well. So that's door-to-door air freight shipping for spare parts. I'm also the owner of Carrera Cafe. So the Carrera Cafe actually came out as my artistic let out. Yeah, I explore my creativity at Carrera, and then over here I explore the practicality. Yeah. I'd like to thank DrivenMNL for this interview and featuring the shop and letting me express my passion, my insights, and share what I do.